Hi everyone, today I just wanted to actually make another video. It's a really quick one. For those who are actually based like me in Singapore for the time being, at least until I get out to study again, and I just wanted to actually talk a little bit more about something that came to my mind, because today was actually my time to exercise my right to vote as a current Singaporean citizen. And it was the presidential election. You know that, I mean, I don't really believe in the whole thing about having a president when we really have a prime minister, and the prime minister actually exercises more executive power compared to the president. So the president here is actually just a ceremonial figurehead, which I don't really get anyway. And because I believe in the whole thing that the thing is, when a country has that certain mindset, whether it's good or for bad, to vote for one kind of party, for the predominant party in power. Let's just say that if the party is not a good party, it's not whatever, for whatever reasons, that will actually be replicated in the way they vote for the president. So the president is not going to be any check or balance on the prime minister or the predominant party, and they have already said quite a lot of times as well that this is not political, which is kind of ironic, because I mean, how can you not be political when everything, like even a presidential position, is also a political post? Okay, unless you can totally remove all these things, like, you know, um, the handling of money and the show me this. But okay, that aside, because this thing was leading me to think about something pertaining to how narcissists actually behave with regards to politics, or even things that seem I mean, they don't seem very far off. Okay, you know that in history we have had studies of the psychology of these dictators, such as Hitler, Pol Pot, yeah, who did the killing fields in Cambodia, Mussolini, yeah, and even I think Mao Zedong as well. So, and I mean, for those who know, Mao Zedong in the last few years of his life, his mind, you know, his cognitive abilities were going downhill. So the one thing is this: across the board of all dictators, there is a common, at least a common consensus critically among psychiatrists and even psychologists, that they all suffer from some form of narcissistic personality disorder, or some cluster B personality disorder at least, such as antisocial personality disorder, or even possibly psychopathy in a very high level. Okay, so Hitler was actually argued to be a sociopath, yeah, with narcissistic personality disorder, and therefore he was unwilling to take any instructions from any of his lieutenants, his aides, yeah, AIDS, yeah, aides as his followers, and everyone was kind of like must worship him. Okay, this how does this actually? I mean, the whole thing reminded me, this presidential election reminded me of the way narcissists behave in relation to politics. So you know that, I don't know whether everyone has realized this, but at least from my personal perspective, I think that narcissists can claim in front of their victim or whoever they are targeting to be very tolerant, to be open-minded, or in some cases they can claim to be really, really conservative in their political stand, so that they can, you know, hook you in. It really depends on the particular victim or target they are actually you know, aiming themselves at. So because I mean, them being them, they are chameleons. But once that, you know, the hook is sunk into that victim, they will actually reveal the true colors. And the true colors, you know, it's not, they're not as attractive as we think they are. And this narcissist actually turn out to be way more dictatorial, probably like aspiring dictator or aspiring, not even aspiring dictator, they are real bully. In fact, they use their authority in some areas to bully you into some political stance or some particular social political belief. And yeah, that's the thing about narcissists. They can even use the particular political stand against you to say, oh, for example, oh, you don't support this particular party, or you don't support this ideology, you're not for feminism, you're not for LGBT rights, or you have issues with that, oh, you must be a homophobe, you must be racist. And that's that kind of like the diversion tactic that they love to use to gaslight you and to accuse you of what you actually are not, just because you don't agree with them. This is very common. It's a diversion tactic. And the whole thing is really ironic, because I remember that actually back in 2015, it was actually the year when I actually came back from Australia. And yeah, I was just back. The whole thing was that during that particular point in time, the former prime minister, the first prime minister, actually Lee Kuan Yew, had passed away. So there'll always be particular whole thing, like parties, like there'll be different points of view. That's fine. It's actually a sign of healthy democracies, or even freedom of speech, where people, or not really freedom of speech, because there isn't much. It's kind of curtailed here, but at least your right to an opinion that we can choose not to like or to dislike, or we can be on the person's side, whatever. Whatever side you are on. The thing was this, right in the aftermath of this thing, this passing of that former prime minister, the figure, there was this so-called national mourning period. And then after that, months later, there was something about the elections coming on for a political party to govern the country. And at this point in time, okay, this was just like I think months after? Yes, months after I met that. No, before I met the one particular narcissist. And that one thing that was quite strange, was that the year after, when we were talking with that particular narcissist, I mean back then I didn't really know what narcissism was. I didn't even know what's Magdalena narcissism. And you asked me what's that, I was like, what's that? Is it something like dark thread? I was thinking, is that something from Charm? Yeah, but the whole thing was this: that particular narcissist had a very tendency to pretend to be very liberal, whatever, but actually no, or to be, according to what they believe, they don't really know who you are anyway to begin with. They are playing to what you are, okay? So I asked that particular person, so how do you vote? And because he was living with his parents, okay, who were in this particular ward, which the former head of state, or the former prime minister, had actually governed, okay, as a member of parliament. Okay, after he retired from that position as a prime minister, he was still a senior minister and everything. So yeah, and so that thing was finally open, and people could contest to be a politician to run that particular area, the ward. And he was saying, oh, you know what? On the ballot, that was what he said. I wrote a long essay complaining about how I can't vote for the parties that I wanted, because the person passed, and then the parties got qualified was not even that good, and blah, 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 blah. It's like a lot of complaining and everything. And okay, the complaining aside, the fact that he complained about not being able to actually have the party that he wanted to vote for, and that the whole idea, he has a standard probably of so-called perfecting. And then the real thing was this: in real life, that person wasn't that much of a good person. He was pretending to be very liberal, or very conservative to different people, and that's like a chameleon. But that's one thing. But in real life, he was really a bully. He was a bully, especially towards me. Okay, I think that people ask me, was it compounded by anything? I think it was just maybe compounded by the fact that he was jealous of me for whatever. I'm not sure. But you just realize this with narcissists. Even the political things, like the political values, your beliefs, will always be weaponized by them. Okay, they will actually use it against you. So, and that's the nature of them. That particular person was like, talking about how he spoiled his vote and by spoiled his vote. Okay, although he voted by writing an essay, so that got the vote disqualified. You can't be counted on either side of whoever on whichever party is supposed to vote for. I mean, thankfully now they have really instituted this stamp so that you can't draw anymore. But there will still be people who just stamp on all these different parties again. So that's the nature of people. So people, narcissists especially being who they are either dictators or they are dictator-wannabes. So for them, it's very common. I think I read in this book itself by this former journalist or current journalist, Julie Hall. She said that actually the one thing about certain narcissists in general is that they are it's not a very commonly agreed upon thing, but according to what she said, that they are very prone to actually be more supportive of dictatorial regimes, and I really believe that. Okay, so yeah, I hope I just avoid narcissists, or even avoid anyone who says this kind of things about dictatorial regimes and in favor of them. People need to just get it into their head straight, that these people have something wrong in their heads. Okay, so that's it for now. Anyway, I'm gonna actually sign off at least for this video, and if there's anything that comes up, I'll upload it again. Okay, so have a good one, everyone. Bye bye.